Have you ever met the connector? Well, he ponders, he helps, he creates, he writes, he speaks. He basically connects people and brings them together. I speak about Paul Solano of PS and All Marketing Group. At psandallmarketinggroup.com, you will receive an assembled group of Paul's contacts and connections that cross into many sectors of life. Please contact Paul Solano at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com if you are in the market for a wide array of services. Again, please contact the connector, Paul Solano, at 617-240-4130 or psandallmarketinggroup@gmail.com with any questions. And now, here's Paul Solano, the host of Paul Ponders.
Welcome to #Paul Ponders. I've really enjoyed bringing you fun, informed, intriguing, and pondering podcasts. Many thanks to #PodPro Entertainment. Today's collaborating sponsor, Scott Albertson of #Project142.org, Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS number 410564, and Remax Renaissance Realty of Reading. Thanks for listening, rating, reviewing, and subscribing. Let #Paul Ponders begin. Greetings, everyone. How is everyone doing today? We're very pleased to have another episode of #Paul Ponders, and today's guest is a friend and colleague. His name is Mr. Richard Trotta. He's director of the Center for Citizen and Social Responsibility from Medford, Mass. Richard, welcome.
Pleasure to be here, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Great to have you on. So, Richard, if you want to tell our listeners about the Center for Citizen and Social Responsibility, please.
Yep. This is a program that I created about 10 years ago from grant money that I received from Michael Bloomberg, and then after that we got funding from the Cummings Foundation and Crystal Campbell Betterment Project. So basically, the program is an after-school program that students meet at each school in small groups with an advisor, and they do community projects. We employ project-based learning techniques, which allow students to be actively involved in the process. They choose the social issue they want to work on, and they work in small groups to come up with solutions, things that may help address a social issue or a local issue. Sometimes it's a project at the school, sometimes it's in the city, and sometimes it could be global projects like climate change. And so over the years, we've had thousands of students go through, and we've been recognized on national TV and local TV, and we have been granted money from multiple sources. So Tufts University is actually one of our benefactors as well. So this program has gone well for the last, since 2017-16, and I believe that it'll continue going for the next decade, I hope.
Absolutely. Now, this is this program founded back in 2013. 2013, indeed, was founded independently, and it's still an independent program, or is it part of the public school system?
It's part of the school system because they serve as a fiscal agent, but the grant program is independent of the school's curriculum or the school plan, so to speak. We follow the same guidelines as far as physical guidelines and also the global guidelines of the district. We try to maintain alignment with the school district curriculum.
That's great. Now, I know that one of the nationally recognized projects was the Sidewalk Project. If you want to let our listeners know about the 3D Sidewalk Project.
Yeah, a few years ago, at one of the elementary schools, the Brooks Elementary School in Medford, one of the fifth graders young lady whose brother was sort of brushed by a car not stopping at a crosswalk. And so her and another partner decided to find a solution that might make the crosswalk safer. So they looked into it and they found an artist who could paint three-dimensional objects, and they had him paint a three-dimensional crosswalk. They looked like they were some cinder blocks in the middle of in the crosswalk. So when the cars came up, they obviously stopped, and it worked very well. Probably after a while they got used to it, but it was picked up by the local press and then the national press, and we were on. I think the program was CBS Sunday morning or Saturday morning, and it was also on the magazine. Scholastic magazine had an article about it as well. So we get that. So, and these students were, elementary school students who created this with the help of an advisor, Michael Coates.
That is tremendous. It really is. So it's really something where the project-based learning really works out quite well.
Yeah, project-based learning is, as far as learning goes, the more students are involved, the more they have an active part in the learning, the more they process things multiple ways by doing projects. Not only do they learn more about whatever the content is, but they learn a great deal about themselves. They they get enhanced self-esteem. They work together as teams, so they learn how to work together. They have to communicate. So they have these little skills, the skill set that will help them not only in school, but in the future, whatever their endeavors are.
That is fabulous. It really is. So this sort of dovetails with another program that I think you're involved in about youth empowerment. If you want to let our listeners know about the youth empowerment.
So yeah, this is another initiative that I'm working on. I've partnered with a few people from across the country to set up a website to encourage and help people do youth empowerment programs. And so youth empowerment basically means allowing students to be actively involved and do the things that we talked about, but work on projects that they have the ability to make change, whatever that change may be. So they see themselves as being able to resolve issues, have a voice, and it gives them the feeling of they can do anything. Basically, they feel like they have the ability to do things beyond what they expected, actually. And it has worked in other places where in Milwaukee, one of my colleagues had a program in school where the students worked with the Green Bay Packers to do local projects, and these students were had some difficulties in school, regular school, but they thrived in this kind of atmosphere or environment where they could actually be working to make a resolution or help make the world a better place.
That's tremendous. Now, I think our listeners want to know why this program is so successful, and I'll tell our listeners why. It's because you have years upon years of experience in education. So, if you want to let our listeners know about your background.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was a teacher at first in the 70s, and then I became a school administrator at the high school. I was located at the high school. I was district-wide media person. But from there, my job expanded. I became a grant writer. I developed a professional development program, and I also ran several departments, including libraries, media, art, music, so sort of things. So I've done a great deal there. But that broad experience helped me sort of develop this concept of what we're doing now with the project-based learning. So when I was able to get some grant money, I was able to create the program we mentioned earlier, the Center for Citizenship and Social Responsibility, which actually was, under the umbrella of youth empowerment. And so now that I'm retired, I can spend more time on it. It's really a labor of love, because I really feel like this is really important, and I get gratification from some of the things that we've learned about students who've gone through the program, which probably changed their lives in a positive way, which, if we could just change one life a year, that would be a lot. So whatever impact we have is really gratifying, because although we don't have the data on this information, we don't have data on the results. We do have anecdotal results, and we know that students have benefited, whether they went to college or not, just in life, because of the skill set that they learn and use in doing the projects is something that's invaluable.
That is so, so true, and I think it's really important for you to just continue doing what you're doing, and you have the passion, but you also have a great list of advisors, top-notch advisors who assist you. So maybe if you want to elaborate on who some of your advisors are.
Um, we have two groups, though. We have the group at the CCSR, and also another group at the Youth Empowerment. The one group at the CCSR includes Dr. Robert Brooks, from Harvard Medical School. We have Roy Bellson, former superintendent of schools; John DeOria, former director of the Teacher 21 professional development program that was a very influential program for teachers in Massachusetts. We have Celine, what's her name? Anyway, Celine from Dr. Celine Coggins from Harvard University, actually a former student, who is an entrepreneur and now works at Harvard. So, we have a good group of people that help us out, and their job is to provide input and help us make good decisions, and also hopefully spread the word about the importance of programs like this that really, really, I can't emphasize it enough, that students are actively learning, engaged in learning and processing concepts, social issues, multiple ways. Is the kind of thing that any kind of learning setting that it will be embedded in their brain as long as they live. And so we're trying to keep those kinds of experiences powerful, so that they feel like they really can do things, and that this might have a way of encouraging these students to go forward with education, go forward with skills, and feel like they can accomplish things, and not be in a point where they feel like they're useless, or they can't get a good job, they can't be productive citizens. And of course, that kind of thinking leads to problems. And we believe that, if we're going to give students a high, we want to give them a natural high by having them do things that help other people. And, that's been proven that in research, that by helping other people, you actually, release endorphins. So it's a natural high that does exist. It's not just, fiction. And that kind of high, hopefully, would replace other ways of getting high and escaping what might be something difficult at home.
So, so true. And also, as we spoke about earlier before we started recording the podcast, another one of your advisory members is Mr. Dave McGilvery, who is just an absolutely wonderful person. And we both have friendship with Dave, and Dave is such a motivator, and hopefully a future Paul Ponders guest and all. But he's the author of the book, The Last Pick, and he is just an incredible motivational speaker, and he's just done a great job in motivating youth, older and younger people. He's just an incredible person, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, Dave is. We've worked on a couple things together. And we worked on the run for Medford a couple of years ago. He's a super guy, and he really, supports us, and we support him, and we have a similar goal. I mean, he has the goal of encouraging students to, to overcome adversity like he did, and by working hard and being determined you can overcome things. Like his problem was he was small, but he wasn't small. He was small in stature, but big in character. And that's the kind of thing that Dave promotes. And we do the same thing in a way. We try to develop the feeling in students that they can overcome things and they can create things. And so it's great to have Dave as another Medford person who is doing great things. And he's like, thanks for reminding me. He's on the board of advisory board as well. So yeah, he does a great job, and we'll be working together in the future, I believe.
Oh, absolutely. And Dave, his motivational talks never get old, and I just feel so much better when I hear his inspiration. And I can only imagine what it's like for the youth to, in fact, just hear his message and hear the messages from what is passed along to them from you and your colleagues. So I applaud you for doing what you're doing. You're doing a tremendous job. So if our listeners wanted to, in fact, go to your website, what is your website, please?
So the website for the CCSR is www.ccsrmedford.org. So CCSR Medford, one word, one word, .org. And then the youth empowerment is youth/can.org. Youth-can.org. So,
Absolutely.
and so both those websites will actually probably do a better job explaining things than I did, but you can get a full idea of what the programs are about. You can see actually in the CCSR website, you can see the projects students have doing presently or doing in the past few years. And you'll also see videos of the kids in action and other videos that were done by local news media on the program. The youth empowerment web page is new. We're still developing it, but there is a foundation there that people can look at to grasp an understanding what we're doing and why we're doing it, and also if they want to get involved. We're trying to build a network of people who believe that youth empowerment is important and it should be part of public education, and also it can be used in other settings where youths have some challenges, whether it's some kind of issue with behavior or criminal behavior. This kind of program will work in settings where we're trying to reach them in a positive way, and by having students in any situation work in groups or individually to solve social problems that they care about, can really, really have a powerful impact. So one of the things, as a teacher, I was a history teacher, and I learned early on that the way to get students to learn was to get them engaged. And then once they're engaged, then they'll pay attention and they'll actually have the opportunity to do things that will that will actually have them learn whatever you want them to learn. Particularly, the word I use is processing, because the more a student processes a concept or a project, the more they're going to be impacted by it, the more they're going to learn, because that processing has a powerful effect of hitting multiple senses and also different brain functions, so that that kind of thing, that kind of project, that kind of activity is going to not only be something they'll never forget, it'll actually have a greater impact on them.
Without a doubt. And as a fellow history major, history is a record of human experience, and it really is something that you're able to convey that to the students who are part of this program. And just for our listeners out there, this is not really an after-school club. This is the real deal. This is something that's really big time. It's more than an after-school club, would you say?
Yeah. So the difference is we have a curriculum. It's called project-based learning. We have a structure to the program. We have students working with teachers after school. So this is the projects tend to be a little more complex than what people typically think of a project, like having a bake sale or raising money for a cause. Um, I'll give you one example. We had two elementary students and two high schools work on a project. Actually, it was most of the elementary students because their teacher, Michael Coates, who was also a historian, was teaching the students about Medford history. And they came across the enslaved people who lived in Medford. And one of the things that they learned was the enslaved people didn't have like a tombstone or a memorial or a gravestone. There was no marker that they existed. And so these two students, with the help of a couple of high school students, they raised $4,000 to put a permanent memorial in the old cemetery in Medford Square. And they had a ceremony, which they invited the mayor, the school committee, city council, other local dignitaries. And what they did was they ran this whole thing. People spoke. And then they had 50 little stones with the name on them. And each one of those stones represented one of the enslaved people that did not have a memorial stone. And they had when the students read the name of each of the enslaved people, and someone came up, who had it, came up and put it in a bucket, and they rang a bell. And they did that for 50 of the enslaved people, which was a very moving experience. And that was one of the kinds of projects we're talking about. That it was certainly powerful for the people who were there, and certainly it was powerful for the students who worked on it. And that's something that I'm sure that it'll carry with them the rest of their lives. And that's the kind of thing we're talking about when we say it's more than a club, because it gets into curriculum, it gets into leadership skills, and those kinds of things that students, whatever they do in the future, will benefit from.
Wow, that is really, really very powerful. So, Richard, as we start to wind down, I think it's safe to say that you have totally won me over to take the leap and to become send my resume, my bio, my headshot along for maybe becoming one of your board of advisors.
Yeah, I'd love to have you on board. And we need more people like you who can spread the word, and put seeds in the minds of people who work in schools or parents, that there's more to education than getting an A on the test. And we have to have that. Of course, we have to have economics, but we shouldn't exclude experiences like we talked about. We shouldn't exclude helping students become more self-confident, have higher self-esteem, and also gain skills that they need, whatever they do. I mean, communication skills are critical, and you get that by working with other people and trying to convey things and communicate with your team, the teachers, the business people they reach out to. I'd love to have you on board. I think you'd be a great addition to the group.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So, Richard, one last shout out for Richard Trotta, Center for Citizen and Social Responsibility. How do our listeners reach out to you?
Best way is to the webpage. I can just my email address is on the webpage. It's the CCSR one in Medford is my email address. I'll state it. It's Trotta, RTROTTA at medford.k12.ma.us. I don't know who did that, but it's easier just to look it up on the webpage. And I'll give the webpage one more time. It's CCSR Medford, one word, .org. And the youth empowerment is youth-can.org.
That is fabulous. Well, Richard Trotta, I want to thank you for being a guest on Paul Ponders today and continue to do the great work.
Sam, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it and look forward to working with you.
Same here. Hashtag indeed. I trust that you have enjoyed hashtag Paul Ponders. Again, my name is Paul Solano of PS&All Marketing Group, and I may be reached via email at paul@paulponders.com to do some more pondering. Many thanks to my longtime collaborative friend and associate, Alonzo Amos of Pod Pro Entertainment, in bringing you our fun, exciting, and informative podcasts. You rock, Techie Alonzo. With PS&All Marketing Group, I created a side gig to connect you and get things done. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me at paul@paulponders.com with any questions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Paul Ponders. Follow us on Twitter at Paul Ponders Pod. Follow us on Instagram at Paul Ponders Podcast. Thank you again for listening to hashtag Paul Ponders, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website paulponders.com, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment, hashtag Paul Ponders lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. Hashtag the new radio. Until we meet again, my friend, stay well. Hashtag indeed.